Greetings. Tony from Old River Hardgoods again, and oh, we got a good one for you today. Today's musical selection is March from Caeledon. It's from my first CD, Forgotten Walls, and of course the links to the full song and a video I did of it are down in the description below. And speaking of marches, there are a few clips from the 2025 Veterans Day Parade, Carbon County, PA Veterans Day Parade, which was held here in Nesquehoning this past Sunday. And these guys deserve our respect and admiration because it's because of them that we are here. All right, now today's video. Old tools for SHTF. That's stuff hits the fan. Actually, it's something else, but keeping the YouTube censors happy, we're going to keep things PG on here. And yeah, there's a ton of prepper videos and all sorts of stuff on here about this topic, but this is kind of my spin on the kind of tools that one should have in one's house. Just, not so much just in case, but when this happens, because, you know, I've been here for 70 years, and let me tell you, it's not getting any prettier. And if you look at Ukraine, you look at Israel and say, oh, it'll never happen here, you're a bloody fool. So anyways, let's get on with the show. First thing that I feel everybody should have in their, shall we say, home survival kit is the lowly carpenter's hatchet. This one's made by Blackhawk, which is a brand name used by Proto Tools, but these guys were made by Stanley, by Plum, Craftsman, which probably were made by either Stanley or Plum, and Fulton, and of course which is another Sears brand, and of course you get the guys that go, oh, Craftsman stuff is junk. Well, I hate to tell you, sunshine, but Craftsman tools up to about 35 years ago were still top quality American made tools. So, and besides, who in their right mind would purchase 100,000 of anything, guarantee it for life, and then have them make it to the, you know, the worst possible standards available? I don't think so. But anyways, enough with the rant. Why should you have one of these? First off, it's a hatchet. Large blade. It's a hammer. Obvious, right? And it's got some weight to it. And this can be used for a variety of applications. You know, and they're cheap, relatively cheap, easy to find, unless you get something collectible. course, you get the guys that say, well, hey, no, I got a tactical axe. I got a fighting axe. I got this. I got that. Well, you know, let's take a look real quick here. I'll move over here. At a reproduction of the original tactical axe. Of course, this is a newer tomahawk I just happen to have here. Big difference between these two. Blades are about the same. This weighs 1 pound 14 and a half ounces, almost 2 pounds. This one barely doesn't even make 1 pound. It's just too light to be effective as a tool. I know guys that have tried to use these for, you know, reenactments for doing, you know, even splitting kindling. It's just a pain. It just doesn't have the weight. Or even sharpening a wooden tent stake is, yeah. Again, I know guys that have done it. My belt axe that I used to carry, which I tried to find, but I think is buried over in the storage unit. It was closer in weight to this guy. It's got a longer handle. But, and while we're talking about handles, if you're going to get one of these handles are still available. I know True Value Hardware still stocks them on occasion, and if not, you can order them online and they will ship them to the store for the same price that you pay for them in the store. And it's handy to have a couple extras around, unlike that fancy tactical hatchet or axe you got there that's got a really neat fiberglass handle that's bonded to it. And, you know, if you should happen to break it or destroy it, well, what are you going to do, right? At least this one, the handle's renewable resource. This particular one, the handle's kind of fugly on. I haven't done too much with this one. I just kind of dusted it off a little bit to show and tell here. But anyways, you know, you should have one of these just in case. In case you're wondering why I'm out here, it's just one of those 60-degree days at the beginning of November, and I just figured I'd take advantage of it because there ain't going to be too many of these more left on here. And notice in this video I'm not getting into the whole guns debate. I know some folks feel strongly on both sides of that particular argument, but I'm just talking about tools. So next up on our list of must-have tools for an SHTF environment is a good brace. You've seen my Spofford brace before, and if you got one of these, you're pretty much set. I don't recommend the ones with the wooden handles and pads because they tend to be a little more fragile, but these old number 10s, this is a 10 or the 8 or the 12s, you know, short of the screw stripping or doing something stupid with it, this thing's going to last pretty much a lifetime. I mean, I've got 20 years of good hard use. You can see how shiny that grip is. Yeah, I didn't clean that. That's just from me using it. Works as fine as the day it was made. So if you got one of those, you're set. If not, pick yourself up one of these. Now this is a Stanley 923 and an 8-inch. I'd recommend having if you got an 8-inch, I'd recommend finding a 12-inch just to give you that little bit of extra leverage. Doesn't have to be anybody fancy. There's tons of Miller Falls out there. There's tons of Stanleys. Lots of good old Pextos if you want to get more in a collector thing. But you want this style of a ratchet, and I'll tell you why. While the Yankee braces are kind of nice and supposedly the best out there, I've seen far too many of those that the ratchets are stripped out of. And I got probably, one he says I'll make a picture of the pile, I got at least 9 or 10 of them here that the ratchets are messed up on. So these guys, I won't say they're bulletproof, but they're pretty close. And as long as the jaws are good, the chuck works, the ratchet turns and locks. And again, this one's not one I cleaned up, but come on. Yeah. I just had it moving. There it goes. You know, you're in business. Yeah, it could stand a little oil. You know, wooden grip, wooden pad. Again, it spins. Yeah, the plating is flaking on this one, but you know, again, we're talking about a survival situation, not how pretty you're going to be doing it. And if that's what you're concerned about, you know, I wish you the best of luck. And while you're at it, you want to pick up some bits. Now, I'm not talking your regular brace bits because everybody's got those, right? You want to find some of these guys. And I showed these guys before in my video on shop tools, one of my first videos I did. But, yeah, this one's bent a little, I know. The smaller ones are trickier to work with, but these bigger ones, they are right handy to have. I use them all the time here. I got a bunch of different ones, a lot of similar sizes, but for knocking handles out of hammers, you name it, I use them a lot. They were made by Syracuse Twist Drill Company and a bunch of others, and sometimes you can find complete sets. You really don't need a complete set. Just having a few different sizes is going to make all the difference in the world. And yeah, you can use an egg beater drill for doing some work like that, but tell you what, these guys work a lot better than that. And egg beater drills do tend to be a little more temperamental, and sometimes they break as well. We're talking about solutions for an emergency situation, not for the prettiest situation. So anyways, that's my take on braces. Well, now let's take a look at a couple saws that you should have. These are tools people take for granted, but they should be a necessary part of anybody's home survival toolkit. First up is the somewhat common and often neglected coping saw. This one's a Fulton, an older Sears brand. And, you know, it can cut. You can just cut for different angles. This one's got about a 6-inch throat on it. But they're really handy for doing quick woodworking cuts. You know, it's surprising how fast these blades will go through just about any piece of wood as long as you're careful while you're cutting. Might not be as fancy as your Diston D8 or D23 saw, but, you know, it's light and it's quick. I would recommend that you pick up a couple of 6 packs of extra blades just in case. Especially if you can find some new old stock American-made ones, because those are getting hard to find, and newer stuff ain't what it used to be. But again, you know, this one ain't perfect, but it's one that I use here at the shop all the time. Next up, of course, is a hacksaw. And this is a Miller Falls number 84, also known as a Buck Rogers because of the red, whatever they call it, perma whatever handles. And as you can see, this one looks like old Buck used it to build his last spaceship with. But that's the way it got here, and that's the way it's going to stay. And I've had this one close to 20 years now, if I remember correctly. And again, you know, a good hacksaw is worth the money. And like these guys, like with the coping saws, good blades are really the problem. You can find yourself a batch of NOS, US-made Distons or Starretts. Spend the money and invest in them. Yeah, this is I don't know who made this one, but all these import blades are good for about 3 or 4 cuts, and that's about it before you got to toss them. And you want to have some of those around just for doing quick jobs. But if you got to do anything serious, you want to find yourself some good blades. But make sure you have a good hacksaw. I mean, these are tools that they may not save your life, but boy, they're going to make your life a whole lot easier if you need them. Another must-have tool, at least to my way of thinking, is a good sledgehammer with a wooden handle, not them fiberglass monstrosities. This one's an older plum, 8 pounds. Well, it's 8 pounds, close to 8 3/4 pounds, but that's what the handle. So it's 8-pound head, straight peen style, and of course, you know, these are, you know, handy to have. And hopefully I don't have to go into a big explanation of why. But, and if you look around, these handles are also still available. So you might want to grab a couple of those, unless you feel like making your own, which some folks do. I want a local blacksmith guy who buys all my big hammers. We're talking the 15 to 25 pound jobs. He makes all his own handles and fine with that. So if a blacksmith can do it, I'm sure a woodworker could do it as well. But anyways, you definitely want one of these guys. And you know, if I had to get into a fight with somebody, let's take guns out of the equation. I'd much rather have one of these than I would want a tomahawk or even a hatchet of any kind, because let's face it, nothing having a handle this long really lets you reach out and touch someone if you need to, right? You know, the last thing I want to talk about for today's little adventure is having some beater chisels around. You know, these aren't your fancy ones. This is a Stanley number 40. If it was in a little better shape, it'd be collectible, and I did clean it a little bit. I might give it a little more visitation to get it out. Last generation of their Everlast chisels with the black handle on it. This is your Stanley number 60 bench chisel. These are also made in yellow and black handles. The black handle ones are a little more desirable, but you want chisels that will do the job, and Stanley made these to be hit with hammers, and as you can see, these were hit with hammers. And you know, you're not really going to be sitting around doing much in the way of polite woodworking, you know, if things go gaga, right? You're just going to want tools you can pick up and do a quick job, repair this, fix that, whatever. And if, you know, you lose a little bit of the tool in the process, you lose a little bit of the tool in the process. But these guys are cheap enough. Yeah, it can't hurt to have a set of them around, either way you look at it, and maybe even a couple of sets. Because, you know, if you don't really take the sledgehammer I showed in the previous video to them and use them with a little care, they're going to last quite a long while. I will mention at this point something else, and I won't dig any out because everybody knows what to look at, are files. And one of these days I am going to do a file video because I think it's important, but you should have an assortment of good Nicholson or other American-made files. Fine ones, rough ones, round ones, slim taper, triangular ones. You know, they're just really, really handy tools. And, you know, I don't think they get appreciated as much as they should be. So, anyways, that's all for this segment of the show. Now on to the flea market finds. Well, it's low 40s at the flea market this morning. That's Fahrenheit. But no wind, and turned out to be a pretty productive day. I got this axe. It's signed. I can't read it, but it is a cast steel. Still got a little bit of steel left on the edge. Handle's going to get lost because it's poorly on and it doesn't add to the tool. A Snell and Atherton heel shave. Needs some cleaning. Hopefully all the screws work, but at least it's still got a pretty good amount of blade left to it. Pile of Starrett rule covers, handy to have. A William Schollhorn blasting cap pliers, a U.S. issued. This is a curling iron. Yes, ladies, what you would do is you would put this on your stove, warm it up, and then use it to curl your hair with. I've had some 18th century ones, but what attracted me to this one is, oh, there it is it's made by C.S. Osborne. So hopefully one of those collectors will be interested in it. Got a whole set here, or pretty much of a whole set of, I guess they're Fichling carving tools, plastic or composite handles, assortment of carving tools, chip carving knives. This little awl, older style with the shoulder on it. It's a little spring-loaded punch, hole starter, nail starter, I don't know, kind of neat. Older Diston bevel square. These aren't signed, but few of them are, but you can tell by the fancy brass nut. 8-inch model. That'll clean up all right. A small hand-forged dough scraper. A little wear to one side, but, you know, that comes with hard work. And a bunch of machinist tools. This is a wiggler center finder. The end's kind of buggered up on it, but chuck-in's good, and it's got the pointer on the inside. Starrett 289A. Ruler clamp in good shape, except for the username. A Starrett gauge, good shape. Set of Starrett feeler gauges. Normally I don't mess with these, but this one was pretty clean, and the leaves are all good. An unmarked double-ended pin vise. A Starrett hermaphrodite caliper. Yeah, got a little frosting, but it should clean up okay. This is a Starrett line level. I can't read the mark. You can see the model number of it, whatever. But that one's in good shape. Another Starrett piece, a number 472 thread pitch gauge, good shape. This is a Lufkin rule set with the holder, same as a Starrett. I want to think it's a 423, but I don't remember the number right off the top of my head, but that needs a little cleaning. It's a little advertising piece by Goodyear. It's a combination screwdriver, bottle cap opener, for those of you who remember what bottle cap openers were used for. And it's got this little alligator style wrench on the end. Kind of a funky tool. I've had them before. Don't know if anybody will be interested in them, but it's kind of a neat novelty item. This is I can kind of read the name. Farrier's hoof trimming knife, but guys use these for doing a spoon carving. And this one's will clean up okay. Got a Stanley riveting hammer with the original handle. Not too bad a shape except for the paint. And a blacksmith, guessing this is about a 2-pound head. Needs some cleaning, and I might be able to save the handle on this one, but yeah, face and paint are in good shape, so that's all that really matters with that guy, since it's not going to be a $100 hammer when I get done with it. Anyways, hey, pretty good pile for the first Sunday in November. Well, that's all for this one, folks. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed my little presentation. If you got any suggestions or whatever, put them down in the comments. And as always, if you like what you're seeing, please hit that subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted. As always, thanks for watching, and bye.